Have you ever been like super left out of something before or felt super left out? Maybe you've heard the word FOMO. It means fear of missing out. So I have major FOMO. If there's something exciting going on, I want to be a part of it. And that actually happened to me in high school. I felt majorly left out because I had a buddy named Nathan. I got a picture of me and my buddy Nathan up here. So I had a crazy afro, guys. You can make fun of me. It was the most nerdy looking afro of all time. But me and my best friend Nathan, man, we loved going to the lake. We would go to the lake. We grew up in Georgia, so we had this lake called Lake Altoona out there. We would love going out there all the time. We'd go tubing, we'd go knee boarding, we'd do all this really fun stuff because his family had a boat. My family did not have a boat, okay? But his family did, so just conveniently, it's not like that's why I made him my friend. Sometimes we do that, right? Like I want to be that person's friend because they have this really cool, theater downstairs in the basement, or they have this really cool basketball goal set up. But no, he was my buddy before that, even though I knew he had a boat. But we would go to the lake like every weekend, and I looked forward to it. Like I couldn't wait to get to the lake every single weekend. We'd have such a blast. And there was one time in particular that we were at school, and I heard my buddy Nathan talking to another one of our friends from the class. It was kind of like around the corner, and I heard him talking about the lake. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Nathan's inviting our other friend from class to the lake too this weekend. That's gonna be awesome. Another dude from our class. So I walked around the corner. I was like, bros, what's up? And I dabbed him up or whatever. I was like, man, we're going to the lake this weekend. It's gonna be awesome. You guys ready for it? And I went to high five them. And my buddy Nathan was like, that's the thing, Silas. This weekend I thought I'm gonna take him out this weekend. I was like, oh, okay, sweet, cool. Well, you guys have fun. And I went around the corner. I was like, man, I was so bummed. I felt so left out. I was like, bro, we go every weekend. And I should have been grateful, but I was like, man, it feels like such a bummer to be left out. Let's be honest. Like, who doesn't like being invited to something? Maybe you're in dodgeball and somebody picks you for the team and it feels really good that you're not the last one picked. Maybe it's like at lunch table and an upperclassman invites you to come sit with them at lunch at school. Getting that text from a friend like, hey, do you want to hang out? Like, it just feels good to feel wanted. Maybe a coach has reached out to you and told you like, hey, I want you to have a spot on our team. It feels good to be wanted. And that's the type of love we're talking about today. The type of love we're talking about today is a word called Phileo. And what Phileo love is, we've been in this series, Love It, and we've been talking about if we can love one another in these different ways the Bible talks about love, it's going to change the world around us. And I believe that's true today. Here's the definition of Phileo love. It's love for your friends, like the way we love one another. And this love that is a loyal love, right? It's not stabbing someone in the back. It's like being there for your friend no matter what. But it's also a type of love that actively seeks to include others into your circle. Because let's be honest, a lot of times we kind of have like a little friend circle, right? And it's really hard to kind of penetrate through that line and join that friend circle. But this type of love is a love that has open arms to accept other people into your friend group, into your circle. Showing Phileo love is all about being an amazing friend and including others. It's a love of inclusion. Because no one likes being the outsider. No one likes being the new kid in any situation. No one likes feeling like they don't fit in or they're left out or not thought of or included. Like, I can't think of a better feeling, though, when someone sees someone like that and then invites them to something. Like, has that ever happened to you? You're a new kid and somebody invites you to something. It's incredible. And I believe as Christians, we should do that better than anybody else. Like, as Christians, we should be the ones including others more than any other person because that's what Jesus did. Jesus was always going for the poor and the powerless, the marginalized, people who were never, always overlooked or never valued as a human being. That's who God sought to save. That's who Jesus sought to include and be friends with. In fact, people would say Jesus is a friend of sinners. He was known as being a friend to sinners. He was a friend of the people that no one else wanted to be friends with. In fact, if I had to pinpoint what an ideal friend would look like, here is my recipe for an ideal friend, okay? The first is being a loyal friend. Like, you're there for them no matter what, like I said. Like, if you have an issue, you could call them at 2 a.m. They're gonna wake up and not be angry at you, and they can be there. They're your ride or die. They're gonna be there to help you no matter what. But the second ingredient to a good friend is being a friend that seeks to include others. Because we've all had that where you just have like such a tight knit of friends where you don't want to include other people. But an ideal friend has open arms to include others. And there's a lot of different friends that exhibit this in the Bible, but there's one friend duo in particular that I can think of when I think of the Bible that exhibits both these recipes, both these ingredients of a good friend. And it's David and Jonathan. David and Jonathan, all right? They had a weird friend dynamic. And here's the dynamic. I'm gonna explain it, I got this picture up here. So David was chosen by God to be the next king of God's people, Israel. God selected David to be king, but Jonathan, his best friend, was the son of the current king of Israel. His name was Saul. Now, let me ask you this. What does that mean for Jonathan when his dad dies one day? What does that mean for him? What do you think? Yeah, he gets to be the next king in line. Now you think that Jonathan would hate David because he's supposed to be the next king, but God said, no, I want David instead. But it couldn't be further from the truth. The Bible says that Jonathan and David were best friends. In fact, Jonathan supported David and he believed that God did call him to be the next king. And this made his dad Saul super mad. In fact, Saul planned to kill David multiple times. And Jonathan was that loyal, that ride or die friend that would be there for him and warn him about his father's plans to kill him. And that's why he was able to survive. Like, I can't think of a more loyal friend duo than Jonathan and David. When I was in high school and I had to switch schools of which school I played basketball in, I got another picture of the embarrassing afro, okay? This was my junior year of high school playing basketball, all right? So I had to switch schools. And I played for one team like most of middle school and high school. Then I had to switch teams my junior and senior year to a rival school. And when I got there, the team didn't like me very much. The team, like they weren't the biggest fan of me. I was kind of challenging some of their starting spots. So there's some guys that really did not like me. But my friend who went to that new school, he was such a loyal friend to me that he kind of helped me gain respect of the other players, and he stood up for me and vouched for me. And sure, it would have been easier for him just to join the bandwagon and kind of just tease me and pick at me if he wanted to, but he chose to be a loyal friend instead. He stood up for me. And I want to ask you, are you a loyal friend? Do you exhibit that recipe for an ideal friend? Do you stand up for people that you care about no matter what? Or have you been tempted to stab your friend in the back because it might make you look good? Or to get in with that popular cool kids at school? Or to maybe betray a friend to kind of make yourself and your own reputation look better? And I want to ask you, what kind of friend are you? What kind of friend are you? Do you want to show Phileo love to one another? But if you want to, you got to figure out this loyalty thing. You have to be a friend that is loyal and there for you no matter what. And that's what David and Jonathan showed one another. And not only that, but we see that David ends up showcasing not only the first ingredient, being loyal, David showcases the second ingredient, which is including others. So, all right, imagine this really quick. You have this best friend. He's your ride or die, right? David and Jonathan. But then you find out that Jonathan dies. You'd be crushed. Like David was completely crushed that his best friend Jonathan died. He wasn't around anymore. He passed away. And he was totally heartbroken. But here's the thing. David didn't just want to grieve for his friend Jonathan. He wanted to do something special to honor their friendship. Now, back in that day, it was actually really common for kings, like when you became a new king from a new bloodline or a new family, the first thing you would do, does anyone want to guess with the picture? What is the first thing you would usually do? What do you think? Kill? Yeah, who would you kill? Yeah, anybody from the old king's family, anybody who was from the previous royal family, you'd go through and you'd kill every single related family member to that previous king. Why do you think they would want to do that? Yeah, get rid of anything they might have or any one thing that could challenge them or anything that could stand up and try to take their spot. They would want no threats of assassination or threats of uprising and starting a new kingdom. They would wipe out everyone from the previous kingdom. So you would expect that David is in a position where he's about to do the same thing. Okay, I'm the new king. Jonathan died. Saul's dead. I'm the new king now. So I'm going to go through and I'm just going to off the rest of Jonathan's family, right? But David was different. He didn't follow the typical let's kill all the heirs and bloodline routine. He knew that his best friend Jonathan has a son named, you ready for it? Mephibosheth. Wait, I can't even say it. Mephibosheth. Try to say that 3 times fast. Does anyone want to take a stab at it? Mephibosheth. I can't even say it. It's Sheth, right? Mephibosheth. All right, I'm going to struggle. Can we just call him Mo? Are you guys okay if I call him Mo for the rest of the time here? All right. The problem was Mo was no longer in the palace. And there's one thing the Bible says that describes Mo is that he's crippled in both his legs. So in that culture, if you were crippled, a lot of times you would just be tossed out. Your parents wouldn't even want you back then because they would associate it with different superstitious things. But we see that Jonathan has this son named Mo, okay? And he was out of the spotlight. He was living this quiet life. And a lot of people probably forgot about Mo because he didn't have a lot of friends. He was crippled. His dad, who used to be the king, is dead now. There's a new king in the bloodline. But for David, he wasn't going to let Mo be left out. He was going to include Mo no matter what. Check this out. It's found in 2 Samuel chapter 9. It says, now there was a servant of Saul's household named Ziba. They summoned him to appear before David, the king. And he said to him, are you Ziba? At your service, he replied. The king asked, is there no one still alive from the house of Saul to whom I can show God's kindness? Ziba answered to the king, there is still a son of Jonathan. He is lame in both feet. Where is he? The king asked. So when Mo, because I don't want to try that again, son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, came to David, he bowed down to pay him honor. David said, Mo. Sorry, that's so funny to me. David said, Mo, at your service, he replied. Don't be afraid, David said to him. I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, the guy who tried to kill David, keep in mind. And you will always eat at my table. So Mo bowed down to him and said, what is your servant that you should notice a dead dog like me? So Mo ate at David's table like one of the king's sons. Now, David asks his people, right? Is there anyone left from Jonathan's family that I can show kindness to because of my best friend's sake? Basically, he's saying, I want to honor my best friend. I'm not going to do the whole kill everyone routine. I want to honor his legacy. So what he ends up doing is he invites Jonathan's son Mo, and he brings him in, and he treats him like one of his sons. Like one of his very own sons. Think about that for a second. Not only does he not kill who's next in the bloodline, he ends up including him. He ends up not just viewing him as less than, he ends up giving him a seat at his table. That's being included in some sort of inclusive, exclusive squad or being a VIP section. Not only does he just spare Mo and say, live in that shack over there, he invites him to be one of his sons. David wanted to include him. And David's actions show us what real Phileo friendship looks like. It's a loyal friendship that treats everyone like a brother or sister. It's a loyal friendship that seeks to include others even when other people would ignore someone and leave them out. It's being a friend that no matter what happens, they're going to show Christ-like love to someone and include them even when other people would overlook that person. And guys, David shows us most importantly that in a world that usually shuts people out, David shows us that the way we include others can change their life. I want you guys to get this. The way we include others could change their life. Has anyone had that story in their own life? Like maybe you were the new kid or you moved to a new place and you didn't know anybody, but because somebody wanted to include you, you gained a new friend, you got a new friend group, you found family, you found community, all because somebody wanted to include you. And so really quick, we're almost done. I want to show you how you can show Phileo love to someone else. These are just quick takeaways. They're not going to take very long. Here's some different ways we can show Phileo love. And the first is include outsiders. If someone's sitting alone at the lunch table, and invite them. There's no reason as a Christian you should ever see someone sitting by themselves and not at least extend an invitation to invite them. Just like Jesus welcomed everyone, you can show love by making others feel valued, no matter what their background is, no matter who they are, or whether you feel like they fit in with you or not. Everybody fits in at God's table. Just like King David's table, everyone fits in God's table. The second way is we can stand up for others. We can stand up against bullies. If we see someone getting picked on, we can speak up for them. Maybe we can walk with them to class if they just got picked on. We can do stuff to create safer spaces and kinder environments for everyone. And the third thing is be a loyal friend to the friends you already have. Stick by your friends in both good times and bad. Loyalty means being there for them when they need someone to talk to. It means to cheer them on and celebrate them when they have accomplishments, supporting others even when others don't. And just like David was there for Jonathan, true friendship is about showing up for your friends no matter what. To show mercy, forgiveness, and love, even when one another are broken. It's a loyal friend. It's a ride or die that never leaves your side. Because that's the takeaway, is that friendship changes others. It does. It can change the world around us. The way we love one another by being their friend can change the world around them. It can change someone's outcome. I've heard many stories about students who were coming close to taking their own life, but they had one person, just one person who loved them and made them feel included, and it changed their life forever. And they didn't decide to go through with their decisions that they made. Because friendship changes others. It does. That's what Jesus did. Jesus was always seeking that person that no one else wanted to be friends with. But in the same way, a lack of friendship can also change someone's life in a negative way. And I've told this story before, but I wanted to tell it again. It's been a little while. But we had a student here at Eastside. This is a true story. We had a student here at Eastside, and he went to a school that a lot of you go to. And at this school, he was at the lunch table. And the thing about this student is, he doesn't play a lot of sports or anything like that. He plays a little bit, but he felt like he didn't fully fit in. And at this school, he heard a group of students talking about Eastside, and he goes to Eastside. So he's like, hey guys, I go to Eastside too. That's really cool. That's awesome. And that table of people that were talking about Eastside turned to him and said, shut up, loser, to him. And I'm like, man, and now his parents were talking to me last year about now he's getting friends who don't go to church. And he's getting friends who, it's sad to me. The people who should be the most loving and the most inclusive were the same people who were doing the opposite. And he was finding that from someone else. He was finding that from a group that doesn't know Jesus. Guys, as Christians, we should be the one who's more inclusive than anyone else. We should be the people who's always seeking the left out, no matter what. And I think Jesus wants you to become a difference maker, to show up and be a loyal friend, but also a friend with open arms ready to extend and invite anyone into their circle. So the choice is yours. Do you want to be a good friend? Do you want to show Phileo love? Because when you do, it changes everything. Let me pray. Dear Jesus, thank you for everyone in this room. God, help us to realize that Phileo love can change everything. Having a friend in a tough time can be the difference of a good life or a bad one. Having one person sticking out for you can give someone the confidence to live a completely different life if they had nobody believing in them or supporting them, God. And Jesus, I thank you that you're not a God who just tells us to do something. You model it for us by the way you live, God. Jesus, you are always seeking those who are poor, those who were destitute, those who were sick, those who were lame, who couldn't speak, who were blind, who were poor, couldn't stand up for themselves. God, you were a voice for the voiceless. And God, I pray that we can be a voice for the voiceless. Because if we don't, who is it going to be? And if we're not the ones to include others, who else is going to include them? Jesus, you always accepted us with open arms, and I pray that we could do the same for others. That we could be that friend that's loyal, that someone could call us at 2 a.m, we'd pick up the phone and be there for them in a heartbeat. God, let us be that kind of friend. Help us to show Phileo love. It's in your name we pray. Amen.